So as you can sort of see, the tenor of everything that I'm trying to say to you is about that. That's what it's all about. Soft sell, soft sell, soft sell. Because to me, I think any sale is a good sale, to be honest. If they spend $300 with me and that's what they can afford, well, that's $300 I didn't have before they gave it to me. If they spend $5,000 with me, fantastic, I've got $5,000. But I don't, I know some photographers that are sort of annoyed if people don't spend much with them. It's bad for you, it's bad for them, it's bad for the selves, as I would call it. So remember, love of self, you want to be happy, so you want them to be happy as well. So at this juncture, I might also say that, you know, we can cheapen what we do by how we describe it. So we amongst ourselves, we call ourselves shooters, and we, you know, often say it's a shoot or it's a shot or and things like that, but they're not shooters, and to them, they don't know any of that sort of dialogue. So amongst us, sure, I might use those words, but not with our clients. With our clients, it's not just an image. It's not a shot, it's an image, it's wall art. You describe it as wall art. It's art for the wall, because if you keep using that word wall art, you know, what wall art would you like to be choosing today? And then as you constantly refer to the, it's just an inference to quality the whole time. It's an inference about what they're going to do with it. It's not going to be just twirled around on their iPhone. It's going to go on the wall. And remember, hard copy, the model selling hard copy, is the best way to make the most money. So why do we have a consultation? Well, obviously, it's one of those, you know, obstacles to a sale, and it's probably the biggest obstacle to the sale. So you have to be transparent. You have to ask the questions, let them do the talking, find out what they want, not what you can give. This is the sale right there. I'm going to repeat it. Ask them what they want, not what you can give. This is the sale right there. They are the creative directors. You do the listening. What's the point of consultation? Consult, remember? Consult. So they are the creative directors. You're going to provide what they do. And you know, we all know, like, we're in the social side of photography, but in the commercial side of photography, a shooter turns up to a situation, there's art directors and all that sort of carry on, and people have a vision, and that photographer is given the responsibility of creating a visual result to their vision. They're actually manifesting their vision. So that's what our job is as well. We try and build in our clients the idea that they are creating their ideas, and we're just going to pull the trigger on that and give them exactly what it is that they expect and what they want. So the better questions that are asked, the better we know them, and the better we can serve them. So the better the questions asked, the better we know them, and the better we can serve them. It just makes sense, doesn't it? And therefore the result is going to be a more desirable product and more money from them. And clients will give up more resources, money, and more wall space if the images pull at the heartstrings. So target the shoot. Don't shoot and hope. Target the shoot. It's all about love. If we're giving the love they have for each other back to them, and we've shot to a plan, then we give them what they want, and they're a client for life. So this is a no, no, no. In other words, by no, 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 I mean don't accept this. We will see how they look and go from there. This just doesn't cut it, because you're left open. And one of the things I might have mentioned, I'm going to mention heavily, mostly, is never lose control of the sale. Never lose control of the sale. So if you just let this open-ended scenario happen, you've lost control of the sale, because it's vague. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen with your work. You don't know what they're going to do. So it just doesn't cut it. So you've got to keep referring to the hanging scenario so that you're shooting to a plan, not shooting and hoping. So at this stage, the consultation, it's all about design and it's all about emotion. And people vary here. So we've all got lots of different types of people, haven't we? You know, we've got the groovy sophisticates, we've got, salt of the earth people, and we've got rich people, we've got medium people, and we've got poor people. But I tell you what, it doesn't matter whether you are any of those things, we all share the ability to love and to be loved. but the style that you might express that love for those people will differ. So the groovy sophisticates might like an urban landscape, or architecture involved, and you get the idea. So a lot of the people I photographed were really loving nature and being outside, etc., etc. So see how people vary, pay attention to that, ask them those questions, and make sure that you give them what they want in the kind of vibe that they want it. So I kind of think, I've sort of mentioned cell phones before, and cell phones, ironically, why they have sort of connected us all, in lots of ways they are also a source of disconnect. They are disconnecting us. And a lot of people are now, rather than sort of sitting around a fire or being face-to-face or meeting in a restaurant or getting together in some other way, they're actually just digitally or device-wise connected. But that's actually, on a human level, it's a disconnect. And it saddens me a little bit, to be honest, but the fantastic thing is that what we do as artists, what we are as photographers, is that we're creating connection. So I sometimes actually I sort of relate to that analogy about the cell phone being a disconnect in today's digital world. We're all connecting on Facebook or whatever, and we're not actually really together. And they actually, they relate to that. And while we all might find it an inconvenient truth, in the environment and the atmosphere that we're creating here, they relate to that. And so they see it as a celebration. I call it a celebration to them. Let's celebrate being together. Let's celebrate the connection that we have for each other. And this is an opportunity for it that's quite rare in your life. How often do you get photographed as a family by someone who really cares about creating a great product for them? So I try and sort of get them to manifest their emotions, and it's kind of exploratory on our part, but it's genuine and it's informing to them. So be interested. And here's just a little breakdown here about some of the things that communication has, the subtle things, when you are communicating with someone. 7% words, 38% tone, 55% body language. So let's just deal with that a little bit. So notice that the biggest number is your body language. So yes, we're talking away, and talking sometimes, we've talked about the tone and the lilt, and we're engaging with that. But in this situation here too, they're now in your presence. You're not on the phone anymore. So body language is really important. So you don't want to be tentative when you're talking about these things. And so when I talk about the prices, I'm really, really confident about them, because I know that my pricing is sort of in the middle of all the operators that I have in my city. And I feel good about them because I know also the quality of my work is actually better than the prices I ask. So I'm quite confident about that. So when I talk about the pricing, I'm confident. My body language is confident. I'm not stooped and kind of defensive. I'm open and proud. And that's pretty much the feeling, if anything, I can give you here. So when they're in your presence, your body language is really important. And so once again, love for yourself, love for them. Don't just ditch all this information on them and hit them with it. Ask them how they're responding to what you're saying. And then that's being really honest, isn't it? Because that's where you give them the chance to discuss how they're reacting and whether it's working for them or not, or whether they're worried or not, or et cetera, et cetera. And so at the end of it all, what are we doing? Together, you and your clients, together, you are creating a memory. And that doesn't matter whether you're a boudoir photographer or a glamour photographer or a kids photographer or a pet photographer. It doesn't matter. To bring up a point here which is really, really important, this is something that's just occurred to me. It's one of our strengths. It doesn't matter what will ever happen with technology. We all know that technology, God knows where it's going to go. But the fantastic thing about photography is the mystique of the stilled moment. Think about that, the mystique of the stilled moment. The moment that we just pull that trigger, that moment is never, ever to be repeated. That's the fantastic thing about what we do. I think it is more powerful even than a video, because a video is a collection of those moments. And videos are cool too, don't get me wrong, but a photograph, it doesn't matter whether it was film, digital, heavens knows where it's going to go, but it's still a stilled moment. And there's something about that. The old story about people's houses burning down. If they're burning down, what do they grab? It's a cliche, I know, but we do, don't we? We grab our memories, and our memories are stored in those stilled moments. I don't think people are going to go and rush for their iPhones, to be honest with you. So spend most of your time exciting them about what you're going to do, and the prices are just, you introduce the prices, they're just ancillary, they're part of the whole experience. And this is where I'll reiterate the frying the frog analogy, because when you get into the viewing, you don't want to have smelling salts to bring them around from being shocked at your prices. You want them already to be totally au fait, already have the prices built into all their mentality when they come along. Don't worry, they come along with different strategies as well, and we will talk about that later, but it's about frying the frog. So to reiterate that analogy, if you throw a frog into a hot frying pan, it's going to jump out. But if you throw it into a cold frying pan and you heat up the frying pan slowly, you're going to cook the poor old frog, aren't you? So the analogy, taking it back to our photography, you've slowly but surely, gently and sincerely introduced all your business operations, all your terms of trade, if you like, all the things that you should, because you love yourself, remember, inform them of, so that as they go through your process, they are fully informed, and you're frying the frog slowly. So, one of the things I say, just to get the elephant in the room, is do they want a wall portrait, or do they just want to hide it under the bed? Now, when I first started, when I first started in business, I didn't have a framing service, and we would bump into clients years later, and they would literally say, I'd say, oh, you're enjoying your portraits? Oh, actually, they're under the bed. They literally would say they're stored under the bed. And I walked away thinking, well, and they might have even spent well with me, but they hadn't framed them. So it's sort of a stock funny question that I asked them, but it galvanizes the situation straight away, because what's the point in taking it if it's hidden under the bed? We don't want it under the bed, we want it on their wall. And we want it on their wall for two reasons. One, they get to enjoy it, and two, we get to sell it. So it's really important to maybe steal this line, if you like, because it's quite a good one. And do they want it on the wall or under the bed? And of course they go, well, no, we want it on the wall. And so this is the part where you find out their resources, if you like. This is a funny sort of gentle way. It's not like saying, oh, how much can you spend? Well, you know, you're just not going to ask that, are you? So, and that's not what they want to be asked either. So do they want it on the wall or under the bed? They're obviously going to say on the wall, and that obviously means it's going to be something. It's a unit. The unit has a value. So what size unit they choose and how many of them, that's yet to come. So this is where you find out about their resources and the potential remuneration is there or not. And one of the reasons why you want to do this is that you don't want to over-resource the shoot. So, for example, if they don't want to spend much, then you just want to compartmentalise the shoot a little bit and just concentrate on what it is that they do want, so you're not wasting your time. Shooting to a plan, remember? Even if it's a small plan, shoot to it. If it's a big plan, shoot to it. So ask the questions, find out subtly how much they can spend and what they want in the way that we've described. So this is one of the things I sort of say too, to disarm them a little bit, just to double disarm them if you like, is that let's just have fun taking all these images. So you've discussed the price list, because don't get me wrong, not everyone is literally definitive, I want this, this or this, because it's new to them. They don't really quite know, but you've got a bit of a flavour for it. So I just say to them, look, let's just have fun doing this stuff. And there's no pressure. You drive the viewing, which they haven't even been to yet. Let's just go and take the stuff and see whatever you want is up to you. So that when we go into the shoot, when we leave my studio and we walk outside or whatever, then they're feeling really, really comfortable. So it's about educating the client. I hope you enjoyed this module, and good luck with it.